Right, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And today is an exciting day. It is a very exciting day because today we are putting on the final sort of touches to our World Cup squad. A 33-man squad that has been chosen by you, the fans. And today we've got the last few people to add. 6 names you're going to add to the list, and then we're going to have a full 23-man squad. And then tomorrow we're going to get together and we're going to choose a 23, a final 23 based on the squad that we have. So yeah, that is where we currently stand, and it should be interesting to see. So basically, how this is going to work is that today we're going to be doing outside backs, which means we're going to be doing 5 outside backs, and then we're going to have this extra player that we've got in our squad, which is player number 33. So not 23, not there's a young for every team. Player 33. And that is an extra spot. Technically, both 32 and 33 are extra spots because the last World Cup squad had 31 players in it. So we do have an extra spot. And the question is, how are we going to use it? Are we going to add a backline player, a forward, an outside back, and a fly off, and a scrum off? Where are we going to allocate that final extra squad position? But before that, we are going to do our outside backs, which means that we need to choose 5 outside backs. Think your Cheslin Colby's, Damien Vincent, Marcus Pimpies, Kirk Lawrence's, CANAN Moody's, Spur and Corsies, Billy LaRue. Who else have I missed? Francois Steyn, if you want to throw Francois Steyn in. So we've got quite a lot of people to get through. So what I want to do, what I want you guys to do, is I want you to start throwing out some names and seeing who we want to start adding to the first 4. I'm thinking probably like a Cheslin Colby, probably a Billy LaRue, probably a Marcus Pimpy, probably a Kirk Lawrence. So those are sort of where I'm probably sitting for my first sort of poll of 4. So let me know what you're thinking, what kind of names we want to start throwing in here. Damien Willemse has to be going. So we've got to get 4 options. Who are our first 4 options going to be? So I'm going to start a poll and say who is the first outside back into the squad, and I'm going to put in Damien Willemse. I'm going to put in Billy LaRue. I'm going to put in Cheslin Colby. And I'm actually putting in Marcus Pimpy for now. Because kind of like the other ones we were doing, we were kind of starting with the ones that we had last time and then seeing if they're still going to make it, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to throw those 4 names at you first because we just need to start. We need to get rid of the 3, a couple of the standard names. We know that Cheslin Colby's going to the World Cup. We know that Damien Willemse is going to the World Cup. We know that Billy LaRue's going to go to the World Cup. After that, it gets a bit more tricky on who's going to go where. So yeah, let's sort of see where we're at and what we're sort of thinking there, and then we'll sort of go through the rest, shall we? And then again, we can add an extra outside back if you want to that player number 33 jersey. So that is an option for us. If you would like to do that, then we can do that. So yeah, what are we thinking? Where are we at? So far I'm seeing a Damien Willemse leading the charge. Cheslin Colby just overtaken him. 12 votes. So it's getting quite close, which is interesting. We've got 60 people, so I think if we can get another 1 vote in, 13 votes. Can we get to 14 votes? Anyone else want to add an extra vote in there? 13 votes. I think we can end the poll there. We kind of know where, and this is 14 votes anyway, so we kind of know where this is going. Right, so our first name onto the list is a Cheslin Colby, man of the match in the Challenge Cup final last weekend. Pretty good to see him back playing some of his best rugby. He was pretty emotional about it. There was a lot of crying. I think that sort of sums up sort of the season he's had and where he's kind of currently at mentally. But right, so now Cheslin Colby drops out of the poll. So now we start adding the same names in Damien Willemse, Billy LaRue, Marcus Pimpy. We're now going to add an extra one. And based on game time last year, we probably then need to be adding Kirk Lawrence into the mix. So that's going to be the next 4 names I'm going to throw at you guys. So you guys can go start voting on that. Let me know what you guys think. And who you're backing to take an extra that next spot. Right, so yeah, so we've got 4 names over there, and yeah, so the best is if you're just arriving now, because a couple of people are arriving late, we're going to name 5 outside backs. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to fill up to 32, and then we're going to have a discussion on who occupies that number 33 spot, whether it's going to be another backline player, it can be another forward, for example, if we wanted to, it could be whoever we want. We just need to bring in an extra player. And then tomorrow, same time, same place, we are going to be taking this 33-man squad, and we're going to be putting it down to a 23-man squad and starting 15. Big Six saying, what about Roulette? Well, we can throw Roulette in. You know, as I said, we've got lots of space in this team, so we can start throwing other people in as we go. He's saying, got to be Damien. As for this one, he's leading the poll at the moment. Contender said, I think France should go to the World Cup. He has played in France, so he knows the conditions well. Combined with experience, I have faith that he should be available in the Cup. Or we can throw France as well. We can throw lots of names into the hat and see where everyone sort of is at. But we're sitting on 21 votes, which I think is enough considering the absolute landslide victory that the second person going into the squad is going to be Damien Willemse, who I think is going to be one of the best players in the world very, very soon. I think literally within the next year or two, I think this could be his World Cup. You know, I think he's sitting in that sort of form at the moment where I think he could be moving on to becoming one of the best players in the competition. So he goes into the squad. There we go. We've now got 29 out of 33 names. So once again, so now somebody drops out. So David drops out. So who do you want to add in? We've had a call for France Stain, for example. We've had a call for Roulette. My big question is CANAN MOODIE, for example, a genuine option? Is he going to be part of in the mix? You know, or is he one of those players? You know, he came in last year because we're short on players. But what are we saying? So who is the third outside back into the squad? And we're going to throw in Billy LaRue. We're going to throw in Makazula Mapimpi. Seeing a lot of chat for CANAN MOODIE. So I'm going to throw in Kurt Lawrence. And I'm going to throw in CANAN MOODIE, seeing as it seems to be the chat amongst people. So those are your 4 options for the next person to go into the squad. So go and get your votes in. At the moment, we have just added Kurt Lawrence. We've added Chesney Colby, and we've added Damien Willemse. So those are our 2 outside backs so far out of 3. So this will be officially the halfway point in choosing our outside backs. So yeah, a couple of people saying Moody, Big saying France Day was time to become a kicking coach. Reza saying I think Damien fills the France Day role as much as I want France there. Flores, I'll bring on Zat there. Damien said so difficult to choose. South Africa has the best depth I've ever seen for a World Cup year. Most says that Moody is to play 100 tests like Jake White says. Then yes, Contender now saying the 3 people will be on the landline. The emergency cover for me. Moody is a young gun player but needs time to grow. We will see him in 2027. Right, interesting to see how this next poll is going. Kurt Lawrence has taken quite a big lead, 24 votes. We can get up to 26, 25 votes. We can get up to 26. We're going to end this over here. Although I don't think... Oh, actually, no. Villaroo suddenly jumped up to 40%. So this is getting quite close all of a sudden between Villaroo and Kurt Lawrence for the next name onto the sheet. Marcus Pimpi right back at 16. So 26 votes. And are they going to get any more votes? Any more votes? Yeah, 27 votes. Kurt Lawrence is slowly pulling ahead. Going once, going twice, and sold. Kurt Lawrence, you are going to your first World Cup if the Forever Sports audience has anything to say about it, because yeah, they backed him ahead of Villaroo, which is quite interesting. Kurt Lawrence is player number 30 in the squad. 2 more spots for outside backs, and then we've got to try and decide on how we're going to use that extra spot in the squad. So once again, I'm going to need now. I'm going to need somebody to replace him in the poll, who is the fourth outside back into the squad, and we're asking to choose between Willie Leroux, Makazolo Mapimpi, CANAN MOODIE. And then who else do you want to add here? Do you want to add a France Stain? Do you want to add a Raymond Roulet? And now I'm seeing a chat for Edville. So we've got one shout for Edville. We've got a shout. We had an earlier shout we had for France Stain. We had another now a shout for Roulet. Throw some names at me. Who else do you want to add into this mix here, people? Either agree with someone, throw a different name. And if I start seeing 2 or 3 of the same names, then we can add that person to the poll and get going, really. So who is going to be? As I said, right now I'm seeing Edville. I'm seeing Roulet. Earlier we had a mention for France Stain. Those seem to be only sort of extra 3 that have come up at the moment. Now Spoon Course is coming in. Clinton adding the France saying now that's as well being thrown in there. Warwick Land, well, you guys are not helping at all, are you? It's just all these new names coming in. I'm seeing a France Stay in chat. I'm seeing another France Stay in chat. So at this stage, it looks like France Stay is going to be the next name added to the mix. If there's anybody else, give me a shout. But I'm seeing 1 for Spoon Course. I'm seeing 1 for Edville, 1 for Really, 1 for Zas. And I'm seeing a couple. I'm seeing 2 for Zas. Now I'm seeing 2 for Warwick Land. Trying to go back to see how many people talked about staying going. Yeah, I think we've had 4 shots for staying so far. So I think that's probably going to be enough, really. Now I'm seeing a 3rd shot for Zas. Anybody else for Zas? Personally, I don't think that Zas right now. I think if he had a full season, then he could have been an option, but he didn't play any rugby this season. So I'm going to throw it for us because he had 5 people that backed him over the chat over this video. So those are our 4 options now: Billy Leroux, Max from Pimpy, CANAN MOODIE, France Stain. The question is who becomes number 31, and then we're going to add another name into it. So we can start at this stage with like Leon Zas is going to be that name. We are saying lots of good options, but no international experience. Contender saying Spoon Course has experience, but hasn't had much time to play and mentally hasn't been well. Kalan's chances have dwindled since they didn't give him much last year. Means he isn't in his good books. And Dylan saying staying is slow, way past his best. Massive respect for him. Right, well, you don't have to vote for him. At the moment, he's got no votes. So Villy Leroux leading the charge. Max Pimpy in 2nd place. And 26 votes there. We want to try and get up to over 30 votes, so please do keep voting. And yeah, we've got 2 more spots on outside backs, and we've got an extra spot. And again, that could be anybody. That could be absolutely anybody. That could be an extra hooker, extra prop, extra lock, utility forward. You know, for example, people talking about Evan Roos not being in the squad. That could be his spot if he wants to take an extra forward. We could be taking an extra fly half. We could be taking an extra scrum half. That 33 spot can go to absolutely anybody. David saying, if Orange goes, it has to be muted to fill the 31. Their chemistry is on fire. Well, technically fill the 33, but I know what you're saying. Stevie, what's your take on France staying going to the World Cup? My biggest problem is just the lack of rugby. You know, if he were to come back, yeah, I think if he came back and played some rugby before, then I think he becomes an option. But yeah, at the moment, I just don't think he's played a lot of rugby. So yeah, that for me is my biggest concern, is there have to be game times for them. Are we seeing on votes here? We've got 36 votes. 36 votes, I think it's pretty much enough. Villy Leroux's got 58%. So Villy Leroux's going to go into the squad. Right, so now I'm just busy adding Billy LaRue there. It's showing up on the screen. No, it's not, so that should be doing it in a second. Right, so Contender saying Ruan Pienaar for the experience, head to go to the cup, can cover 9, 10, 15. Contender, like, this guy hasn't played like for the Springboks in like 10 years almost. There's no ways he's going to come and play in the World Cup. Nicholas says, Steve, do you think Phillips is more likely to start 15 than Billy? We play better going forward with Billy. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't quite know how to get that one right. There's no doubt that as a backline we do function better with Billy LaRue, but how do you not play Dave Williams in the form he's in? As is why they only allow 33 named players. The squad is much more depth. At least 40 players near the amount of injuries that will happen. Well, you can replace people with injuries. But yeah, you have to say, well, it's actually been expanded from a 31 to a 33-man squad. So there's actually 2 extra players compared to the last World Cup. Andrew says they will alternate to get game time. Billy will start the crunch games. Dion says, I'm just wondering for interest sake where Duan van der Merwe would have rated amongst our picks should he have been under consideration. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That's always sort of the biggest thing when you talk about players that we sort of we've lost out to. It's a case of would they have played? How much did we miss them? So, for example, Duan van der Merwe at the time wasn't really being given a chance. wasn't told that he was going to make it, and he went overseas. He made it, and now he's one of the top performing wings in the world. I don't hold a grudge against him. I don't understand why people do hold a grudge against him. It's a weird thing for me. I personally am not massively bothered by players who go play for other countries. I think it's such a global. The world is in globalization. It's such a global game now that I don't think, to sit there and going, oh, he's got no Scottish roots. He can't play for Scotland. If you move to another country and you are now playing in that country, you live in that country, your kids are being born in that country. Why can't you play for that country? I'm speaking of somebody who's got dual citizenship. So I'm born in South Africa, lived in South Africa all my life. So I would represent South Africa personally. But for example, somebody had asked the question. It was a bit of a curveball question. They said, "Well, if you were good enough, you were one of the best footballers in the world, and you could represent South Africa, or you could represent England, for example, which one would you do?" Now, if I represent South Africa, I don't get playing World Cups, which is a problem. If I represent England, I do. But it's a difficult one, to decide, and how much of it is patriotism, how much of it is a career, Do you want to win things? Do you want to have an international career? Do you want to help your nation do things? So, everybody keeps saying Vincent Stuka, Emmanuel Stuka, for example, who's come play with the Springboks. Maybe they should go play for Congo if that's where they feel. But let's be honest, from a career perspective, that's just a stupid move. So yeah, I don't think we missed Duan van der Merwe necessarily. Would he play for Springboks right now? If he was qualified, he probably would play for us. If he right now had the option to switch and we could select him tomorrow, then I think maybe he does come in. On the form he's been in. You can't lie that he's not playing good rugby at an international level, but we do have a lot of outside backs. Speaking of that, who is the final outside back into the squad? And our options are Michael Zorn-Mapimpi. I mean, by the way, we need another one, yeah. CANAN MOODIE. Frans Steyn. And who are we going to add? A couple of people are asking for Zas. Anybody else who's going to things? So Vic said we don't have enough space in the box for all our talent. Some players go overseas. Zas is better than Duan, and he can't even make the Springboks. You see, now I don't agree with that. I like Leon Zas, but I don't think you can say Leon Zas is categorically better than Duan van der Merwe, who has scored international tries, who has played for the British and Irish Lions. They're exactly the same age. Leon Zas has never played for internationally. And I think Duan van der Merwe has almost got more international points in the last 2 years. He does. He's got more points internationally. He's got more international tries in the last 2 years than Leon Zas has scored domestic tries, for example. So that's not even including the fact that he scored 160 points for Edinburgh. He scored 40 points for what? He scored 8 tries in 17 games. This season, for example, he scored a couple of tries for Edinburgh as well. So I mean, Duan van der Merwe is a really top player. I think, let's be honest, he's better than a lot of our wings here. That's not to say that he's going to bench any of our big players, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I could confidently say that Zas better than him because I don't think he is. Contender says, who is going to be our Craig Cooper comeback? Curran Bosch could be the answer. Notch has been on fire, so the chance to jump Ruiz and Vermeulen. Kenneth saying Galant. Contender saying Werner Koch covers wing and center. Utility backs are really valuable in Rugby World Cup. We're throwing in the Edville shot. Right, guys, I need a fourth option here for our last outside back. We're to Badosh Tamwe. He's over playing in France, living his best life. What else are we saying? So we said Werner Koch, not test quality yet. We just saying Mr. Yanti. There's another shot for Edwards, a couple of shots for Galant as well. Troy saying Galant, well, there's a fourth shot for Galant. So we're going to throw in Warwick Galant. He has played with Box in the last year as well. So let's throw those names out, shall we? Again, we can always throw somebody in to the mix for that fourth one. And we've got 44 people watching, so I want to try and get up to about 35 votes at least. So let's get voting, shall we? Come on, we got 2 more people to add. 2 more people. And then we are donezos. $28 votes. 29 votes. And Marcus Pimpy is steaming ahead of this CANAN MOODIE with an extra in second place. They were actually getting a bit more support than France Stain, which is interesting. And I'm very interested to see what we're going to then throw in as our last player. As I said, it doesn't have to be an outside back. It could be anybody. You know, so if you think about players who have missed out, Evan Ruiz has potentially missed out. Grant Williams has potentially missed out. Alton Yankees hasn't been included, for example. At this stage, no CANAN MOODIE. If we look at Locks, Marvin Ori's not going to make it at this stage. Props-wise, we're not... Trevor Nyakani is not going to make it. Hookers-wise, Jan Krobelard didn't make it. So where do you want to use this extra spot? I'm very interested to see what we guys say. I think a lot of people could be on the Evan Ruiz shot. I'm seeing his name coming up there. But again, it can be an extra backline player, for example. So if you wanted to add in CANAN MOODIE, we can add CANAN MOODIE. So we've got 35 votes. So I'm going to end the poll. And... we're going to add Makazoloma Pimpy. So at this stage, Kurt Arndt the only new name in our outside backs from the last World Cup. But we now need to do our 33rd player. Right. Throw some names at me. This can be anybody. I'm seeing quite a few names for Evan Ruiz. As I said, it can be a scrum off. Grant Williams can go in there. CANAN MOODIE can go in there. Johan Krobelard can go in there. Who else could we be talking about? Players who are playing well. Players who played in the last year. Ruan Nokia, for example, if you really like him, could be going in there. So where are we at here? Right, so I'm seeing a couple of Grant Williams. Right, so who's the final? Who is the final, capital final player into the squad? Right, so I'm seeing a lot of chat for Evan Ruiz. Seeing a bit of chat for Grant Williams. I think I saw 2 people talking about Grant Williams. I'm seeing a Dan DBC. I'm seeing a Marvin Ori. I'm seeing a MOODIE. Is there anybody else? I've seen 2 MOODIEs actually. I'm seeing a Ruiz, Lowe, MOODIE, or Trevor. Yeah, Albert Lowe, somebody as well. Ruiz, Ori, Williams, MOODIE. So I think Marvin Ori. It's interesting to see you've got quite a few people from going with the Marvin Ori shot. Nicholas say I think we need another lock realistically because Masters more likely playing flank than lock. So that's an interesting idea, for example. So I'm seeing Evan Ruiz as an option, and I'm seeing Grant Williams as one of the leading options. Who else are we seeing? I've seen a couple of I'm seeing an interesting amount of Marvin Ori's, which is quite cool. Just because I think he's not a particularly flash player, but people are starting to appreciate what he does. So I've seen quite a few CANAN MOODIEs as well. Seen a couple of Dan Duplessis popping up here. A couple of Diamonds. I'm not actually sure Diamonds qualified, so I'm actually not going to put him in there because I don't think he is at the moment. Interesting that again, even Armani, he was so far away from he's so far away from what a Springbok loose forward traditionally is, and yet we're seeing a lot of chat for him. So okay, cool. I'm seeing a lot of Marvin Orie, so I'm going to add in the Marvin Orie. Now the question is, so this last spot could go to Darmani, although I'm not sure if he is qualified. And a couple of people are putting in Dan Duplessis, CANAN MOODIE. If anybody wants CANAN MOODIE to go, this is the only chance you have of putting him in here. Yeah, he wasn't the same setup, but he never actually, as far as I understand, he never actually played for Sevens. I think he played SS Schools, but he never actually played for the Blitzboks. I think he was in training camps, but didn't end up playing. So yeah, so I'm seeing all the MOODIE shouts coming in. Yeah, okay, so we'll throw in CANAN MOODIE. Right, there we go. So, final play into the squad. We've got Evan Rose, Grant Williams, Marvin Orie, CANAN MOODIE. I like that, actually. It's 2 forwards, 2 backs. Where are we going to go with them? Right, this should be a very interesting vote, I think. So, we've got almost 50 people in the chat. I want to try and see if we can get to 40 votes. We're up to 30 votes. See if we can get to 40 votes. Surely we can get to 40 votes because it's getting pretty tight here. So we want to make sure that our last decision is not a rash decision. It needs to be a very thought out decision. Come on, people. We've got one more name to add to the squad. I'm very impressed with the squad we picked, by the way. I think this is a pretty good squad. I think we've done very well here. I'm very interested to see what it's going to look like tomorrow when we then start putting them all to their individual positions and deciding who's going to go where. 34 votes. Come on, people. Let's get to 40 votes. 40 votes, and I'm going to close this. 40 votes, because right now it is literally neck and neck. And every single time there's an extra vote, there's no one that's pulling away at this stage. It's Evan Rose with CANAN MOODIE at the moment. Grant Williams, CANAN MOODIE actually pulls ahead. 38 votes. Come on, people. Let's get to 40 votes. 40 votes, and I'll close it. Right, and we are at 40 votes. We're going to get to 41 or 42 votes. 41 votes. Oh, this is so close. I'm actually going to make it, okay, 13:29. I'm going to close it off. As soon as it hits that, I'm going to move on. $43 votes, and it's 29. And bang, I'm closing the poll. Right, so there we go. The final player into the squad is Evan Lewis. Interesting. Very, very interesting. That's literally 4 options at 8th man. So I'm not sure that's the best usage of the extra position. I think that he should have gone instead of Jasper Visa. But that is what we've decided to do. So that is the squad. So that is our final squad there, people. You guys have chosen that squad. I'm now going to have to just change it up a bit and just move all the backline players down a bit. And move everyone else back up to before I have to clear from a composition point of view. But from the squad, we are then going to choose a final 23 tomorrow, in fact. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So same time, same place. You can come here and choose it. And let me know what you guys think. And yeah, thank you very much for participating. We've got one more episode in the series. Should be a lot of fun. To really sort of knuckle down to a final 23. So we'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And if you are new, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. We've just gone past 25,000 subscribers, which is very exciting. So now I'll try and build to 30,000 subscribers. I'd like to get there before the World Cup, which would be very cool. And you guys can be part of the journey. So if you are new, do subscribe. And if you're not, well, we'll see you guys tomorrow anyway. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.